Hello and welcome. It is 1:19 p.m. Eastern Time and it is dated February the 5th, 2021. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades, and within the like, that is each his own risk and their own reward. In several hours from now, I will be running a giveaway, which will be pretty much at the end of the night, and that will be on the Super Bowl. So you can check for that. You can win up to $5,000 in cryptocurrencies as the maximum prize. It's unlikely that'll happen. I hope it happens, and I'll explain that later tonight. I did my top 12, and I think I missed DGB and Ripple. I haven't even rewatched my video over again, but Digibyte DGB against Bitcoin on the daily term is, we'll see if this gets anything going amongst it. I mean, when does it ever last look good as far as a bullish setup is concerned? I mean, it was attempting something here, but no. And it got above the 18 here to state something, but never really did it even get back above it, though. It got above the 18 here. Again, same thing. Now we're back in late November of last year. And, well, now we're back in August, and well, no, we're not in August. That's October here. And here it was starting to, but even not really. Okay, so the last good move it had would have been in August, and that was been the end of this last run up. But as it goes within the 18, what we're seeing is the best it's looked since then, anyway. And we have a move on January 28th. That gets noticeably above the 18 average of highs, and the price is not seen since what was before then, January the 7th. It closes within the trading range in which it was in before. The next day, it exceeds the previous day high and then goes to levels not seen since, well, not only really January the 3rd, but even going back to like December 30th, which is like 4 days, whatever. And what has it done ever since? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is on day number 7, just grinding amongst the 18 average of highs. It's a pretty good setup. 4-hour term. Major support established at 81 Bitcoin Satoshi. And then even just more shorter term, just the last 3 periods, and how it's holding and supporting this area. That I've talked about this so many times. Like, you're in a big range and you break above it, and I want to hold that area. So if it was resistance, I want to hold this support at a bullish level. Not quite coming up to this level of resistance, but quite coming up to this previous one on the 15 stamp. So we'll see if this thing gets going, but it's showing some interesting signs. So DGB against the US fiat. It's in at 3.5 cents, and amongst it on the monthly term time frame, having a big monthly gain. The previous April, going up 231%, and when it had that gain, what did it follow through? Well, 5 consecutive up months in a row and a grind its way higher. Nowhere near a large rate of ascent, but a decent rate of ascent. It had a lot of intra move. I mean, what a volatile move it was in May, as the price action fell down to a half a penny. At one point, most likely in the early runs, would have went up to 2.5, but it ended up closing at 1.7 cents despite going there. And so just by looking at this, you can say within the period, it had a huge run higher. And then from that run higher, regardless of whether this high was done first or not, it had a correctionary move and then had the move rally. And then the continuation for several periods later, making it to the high of 3.78 cents. And it still has not been above that. And it's, again, above even previous highs in here. 2018, it was 5 cents, and even probably even higher than that when we look at like January. But we see that now, after a couple of periods going down, well, it's not much of a down at 1%, but 27% down to the 18 highs, and then grinding it, and still kind of is, if it hasn't escaped it, but it's broken above previous highs. It's another attempt in leaving the 18. This thing, to me, looks like it's in a phenomenal situation. Now, amongst it on the weekly, what do we see? Start of the year, down at like 0.002 cents. Yikes, that was pretty cheap. Less than a third of a penny. And then it has a very sharp rally up to 2.5. Just congests within this little under and at 2 cents. Next little move, and then corrects again. So the congestion areas where support was established really 3 times at 2 pennies. A couple times here lower, and a decent amount of time. I mean, you had a deal. Buying it at and under 2 cents was pretty easy, at least during those days it was, or weeks, within those weeks. And then we have this breakout here, and then from the breakout back to the 18 and leaving and such. To me, this looks like a phenomenal setup. And on the daily term chart, we had the breakout above the 18 average of highs on January the 29th, pulled back to the highs, and it's now gotten above all of these levels of resistance, and albeit barely. So it's now at highs not seen going back to August. So making new highs, you got to expect at least on a conservative level, last year's summer highs at 3.6. Now on to some XRP. At a long-term level, monthly chart, well, this is going back to even before 2015. It's at the prices it started at, and then the lows before the big push in 2017, and even the lows before the big push before that January 2018 rally. I mean, all it did was go from 1187. What was the exact low here on Poloniex? 1171. So from that low, it manages to get up to 22,888 within like 2 periods, but really under a month, or about a month. Higher low, lower high, lower low, and then even just this little bit and stuff in here. Now, if this thing goes off, do you think it's possible we could see monstrous green moves? That could be like, oh my wowzers kind of deal. When you talk about some interesting high risk, high reward, and at least when you're looking for funds that are not shit coins to the degree where it's just especially when you're doing decent and high stakes, just frustrating to get in and out of positions, even partial positions, especially when you're doing high stakes partial positions, because the market is so thin. You're talking about quite the opposite. If you're extremely rich, I mean, this is still probably too big for you as far as you not being too big for the market. And you're able to get the extremely X size moves. You could easily have this thing pretty much go to nada, zero. And then you could have these fantastic moves. And if these things against other cryptocurrencies, this of course being Bitcoin, just keeps on going up and down like this, then that gives you excellent opportunities for great trades. And usually buying on the lower end and selling on the upper end is better plays, just something to keep in mind. And well, that's the long term. Let's go back to short term run. I did open it with a 4-hour term, and near the end of January, this thing was like under 800, and then it goes over 2. Pretty much a 3x move from the lowest to the highest point. And not hard to get a 2x move from buying then anywhere at this range, even if you bought at like 878 or something, which was at a top for the past several days before. And then you're seeing this get to these upper areas, but then you got to be fast within these moves in here. I mean, to get over like 1700, I mean, which hours was it done in? Well, I guess it was from 2 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the morning on the first day of February, when most people are sleeping in North America anyway. And then what's it done since that move? And what a really harsh sell-off when you think about it. You go from 2,200. I mean, this isn't as harsh as GameStop, and that's what's so funny. I always used to talk about how cryptocurrencies just puts that in the wild, because GameStop is down like 4 times in like so many days, and up 4 times, and not that long either. Well, here this is lost over half its value since the start, within the week, and yet it's up. Not as good as it could be, but it's still up about like 60-75% in a week. But in almost a week, it's down half its value. Oh, yeah, volatility is most certainly part of the name of the game. So since this decline, it had this little bit of a rally here. And this move is going from, and this is so little, but within it, it's a little 1,024 to 1140, a little over 1,000. So 10%, and it's just nothing when you look at it from this perspective. And even from this perspective, it's not much either. Comes back to the 18 where it came from. And then we have this move. So how is it going to react to that? Well, so far, it's held. It's established support first, and now it's in a range support level from 1157 Satoshi down to 1137. Downtrend, we got this high, lower high, lower high, and lower high matching high to this one here. Now it's got to get above this high that established 2 periods ago. As it had a break above the 18 and then came back within the band. Now it's back to the highs. So you see short run, you see the extension here. It's almost, I don't know, maybe that's the time you push the buy button, whatever, however you play it. But in some cases, oh, I got to see it get above 1324 maybe. But you realize that these things can just have, when they're ready to go, moves of fantastic, monstrous levels back in here. 1500 up to 42. So that's 2 point something X. And then giving it all and then some more back. And comparing this against the dollar, we can see here, I mean, same thing. I mean, you have 23 cents up to like 75, 3X move, yada, yada. Doing its thing, giving it all back. And then some, just barely a bit more in this case when you're crossing it. I mean, it's Bitcoin, way much more. This case, just most of it, all of it back in a hair bit more. Now, and then it comes back to where it came from. This high, and this is a trade at, the highest trade was 78.068 cents. Highest this trade came at was 75.5. So pretty much in the same realm. Since that 75.5 cent move, price action coming back down, and now it's on period number 4, staying within the 18 highs, or day number 4. Previous day, it got above it, it closed above it. It has spent the entire day thus far trading above the highs, and is, I mean, not much of a difference, 0.66% move, but still holding in that play. And when this thing has its moved, it can just be like wowzers. We could see like $1.42, $3, like it's nothing. Now how well it will hold and what it will do after that fact, we'll see. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that the probability that it's either going to do those sick up moves on situation being bullish, or it pretty much goes to nothing on situation becoming bearish, will be the case. It's not going to do anything else. It's not just going to stay sideways the rest of the way. It's not just going to go bullish and have okay moves. It's not going to be bearish and pretty much not go to nothing while other cryptocurrencies go up. I just don't see any of that enduring and coming into play. And now let's go over theta. I put these lines in way back when. They represent Fibonacci from this low to this high. So here we are from the last whatever level that number is, and I don't really care for percentage. I think this is 38, 61, 76, and 85, but whichever one it is. It is, and 1, 2, 3, 4 days of just hanging in there amongst the, I can almost say this, showing a lot of high volatile strength amongst the 18 average of highs. Now, with that being said, I got to think this is a bad logarithmic scale, so I can't say that. It's not. It's just a bad log scale. So take it. It's what it's doing. It's showing strength at the 18 highs on the weekly. On the daily chart, it's still correcting. It had an attempt for 2 days on January 25th and 26th to break out. At that stage, failing to do so, but so far for day number 9 or so, correcting within the 18. Within those 9 days, today and 3 days ago, or today and the 2nd day of February, attempt to break out. But in both cases, retrieving back to the 18. It's just at the 18 highs, so short term, what does that mean? Well, it means we had this fantastic rally starting at 20 hours last night. going from 5,700 and change Satoshi to like 67, a gain of greater than 10%. It's practically only been red candles since, but I mean, from this low this high, it can go a long ways to make a higher low. I mean, where do I want to see it? I see big resistance here around 6 flat even, and it's still 300 basis points above that. And that's one good leg lower, because it's been, if it breaks down below the support, because this is on period number 3 of just supporting where it's supporting now. So if I just quickly look, and I haven't looked at this yet, the 5, I can, I would have expected a little bit different than that actually, but even still, I would see that this little area here, which was support, now resistance, that if it breaks, that, oh, it could easily have a move down to here, that would make sense if that situation occurs. And on the short term, when's the last time this is at any real significant, concise move of saying, yeah, things are most certainly in a bullish or bullish setup or anything like that? Hasn't been above the 18 average of highs well since 7 in the morning. So all these attempts have been lackluster. So I still need to, I mean, for what it's worth, great. It's established 63.85 resistance on the short meaning short term, of course. But now I need to see it, at least for now, get above 6,400 change before I can even start to consider much for seeing this being an end of correction. And to finish and sum it up, a very strong setup against the dollar, and it's attempting a breakout stage right now. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.